What is up, guys? It's Verns back here again with another SuperCoach video. This time it is the NBL Round 15 review. And look, first of all, I'm just going to start this off by, we can all see what came in the mail. That's right, I got my Creek jersey. Now, the little story behind this, obviously, I won the weekly, got the $100 for the NBL store on top of the money, which is cool. And so I went and got a jersey. I did actually want a Kel jersey just because I felt like he was a big reason I won this week. But unfortunately, Adelaide did not have a Kel jersey. I did actually, after that, consider a Wiley jersey, because as much as I didn't own Wiley, he just as much won me that week by flopping so hard in like 85% of the top 1%. So I did consider that, but then decided against it and thought, I guess if I'm not going to get one of these boys that won me or like that's been in my team, I definitely think McCall would have been a good one to get. I only kind of thought about that afterwards, but I thought I might as well just get a South Melbourne one. So I ended up grabbing a Creek jersey, which pretty happy with. They're pretty dope, I gotta be honest, and they feel real nice. And also I was wearing it around on Saturday when I got it because I was way too excited, so it's a little bit stinky now, but you know what, you guys can't smell that. But also got some people telling me it was a nice jersey, so only positive of wearing the hometown jersey, people actually appreciate it. If I was wearing an Adelaide one, they probably would have given me a bit of a dirty look. But yeah, awesome. Let's jump into the actual SuperCoach. We had an awesome week. 22 for the round 15 as our round score, our round rank, a 528, and we went up 46 positions to crack the top 100, going to rank 62. That is just awesome. I'm so stoked about that. Back into the top 100 finally after dilly-dallying outside for so long. Just took a few almost round wins to get there, and one of them was a round win. But yeah, look, got to set a new goal now. We got 5 weeks left, and I'm setting it as the top 10. And y'all might be sitting there thinking, Vern, man, I think you're getting a bit carried away here, but I'll show you in a little bit why that's not outside of the realm of possibilities. Honestly, I think we could be pushing maybe even top 5 if we do this well enough. Sorry, just put in some nose spray too, so nose is running a little. And look, also a huge shout out to 4th place for the round, Corey, the ladies' man, Blackledge. So close to taking the cake. Me and him would talking all weekend. We'd always talk our talks every single week. We talk about our teams, talk about our trades every single week, talk about the games as they're happening, after they've happened, all the good stuff that you love to talk about. And look, I really thought he was going to take home the chocolates. When I saw you score, I was like, bro, you got this. I got so much faith in you. Ended up 4th and missing out by 5 points, unfortunately. And it's the difference maker of the captain at the end of the day. The guy that won had Humphrey. He had Kel. That's 19 points. And as I said, he missed out by 5. If he had, Clark as captain, if he had Adams as captain, Humphrey as captain, basically anyone that was on his field that wasn't Kel or Froling, and he took home the chocolates. But still an awesome week from him. Massive jump in the rankings. And look, for those interested, I'm going to actually do a bit of a preview show this week. I've actually asked Corey to come on. As I said, me and him talk every single week. I think we have some good chats. And I was like, look, man, let's jump on the show. Why don't you? If you want, of course. And then, yeah, he was keen to come on. So we're going to do that on Wednesday. We'll get that recorded in the morning. Get that out for the afternoon. I believe games might even start as early as Wednesday this week. Or was it just the week gone? And my internet's lagging. Well, look, we'll check that in a second. But yeah, we'll get that recorded, get it out for Wednesday. So everyone stay tuned to check that out, because I think that'll be an awesome video between me and him. Okay, and into the team we are, guys. Sorry, I thought I would just quickly chop and change it while it was loading there, because it did take its time. Now, look, obviously I'm still holding my boost here. As you can see, the team really nice. And as you can also see on the bench, 2 big problems in the team, and look, one of them was Menenga coming out with 0. That hurts. Look, we hulled him. I think the reason we hulled him was correct at the end of the day. He was coming into Adelaide. Adelaide is a team that give up large points to centres. He had been in great form, and there was no reason why he was going to, get forwarded. But unfortunately, he got forwarded at the end of the day. He got 4 minutes of court time. He got 0 SuperCoach. And honestly, that was a big reason that my weekly I didn't quite get there myself. Could have really been pushing that top 10 for the week if we got some extra points on Meninga. But I think the big thing looking at Meninga is the fact of holding the boost. Last week we held the boost on Clark. We lost 24 points. He would have been on our bench, so 12 overall. So a bit painful there. Then we held the boost again this week. And look, in my notes, I actually have one of the trades I want to do this week. Like, I had it written down last week, so I was like, I'll wait a week. I'll let Meninga earn some money. As I said, a 4 break even. The man was playing great. Coming into Adelaide, I was thinking, honestly, 25 to 35 points. Earn a bit more cash, and then we can look at making this trade. And hindsight's obviously 2020 there, but obviously if I preemptively make that trade with the boost, there's like an extra 20 points I would have earned. 40 points for what they scored and 20 points for being on the bench. So another 20 points, down the drain. And it's just one of those things where, over 2 weeks, 32 points, it is a little bit painful, especially if I want to be pushing for that top 10. But look, that's just what happens. I guess holding the boost was playing it a bit safer and watching how everything unfolded. And as I said, holding him seemed like the correct play. There was no reason why he couldn't have gone out for that 25, 35 points. And look, if he came out for 25 points, I probably wouldn't have even been talking about him. I would have been sitting there like he was the right play. He made some money. Good shit. But it didn't work out that way, unfortunately. And holy moly, my internet is going slow today. Look, maybe I will chop it here, and I will maybe reset the computer and see if it's doing a little bit better after that, because this is struggling. But I guess while Menenga's up, we'll talk about it. That 4 break even meant even with a 0, he only lost 5k. So it's not too detrimental. We did bring Meninga in when he was super cheap. We've made tons of money on him, so I can't be unhappy with him in my team. He's done really well, and he's a big reason I won my weekly when I won it. So at the end of the day, I can't be unhappy with Meninga. It's just a little unfortunate this week. And as I said, even last week, just sort of holding that boost for too long at the end of the day. So this week we are definitely not holding it. But yeah, we had some great plays come out. Lamb had a good first game, put out 36, and then look, this Sydney versus New Zealand game, the second game, it was very entertaining to watch Jalen Adam drop 50, SuperCoach points, 39 actual points, pop off. Sydney in general were popping off. They were looking so good, and I was like, damn, this is, it's entertaining. But at the same time, very sad for anyone owning New Zealand players. Lamb, 19 points. Very disappointing for Lamb's standards, unfortunately. Parker Jackson Cartwright, 14 points. Very disappointing from his standards too. Only positive is that if they do lose some money, it might be a bit easier to get them back into the team. Clark, a massive 49 in the first game, and then 26 in the second game. As bad as this sounds, guys, I was actually really happy with that. I think about 15% of the comp had captained him, in the top 5%, and I needed him to do really well, but not outscored Kel too much that those that captained him got a huge advantage on me. So outscoring Kel by 6 points, that's fine. That's really good, in fact. I think that's within the realm that it's like losing 6 points over having the wrong captain choice isn't a big deal, but we still got a really good score, but we still want a good score from him because he's in our team at the end of the day. Same with Adams. He put out an 80. Obviously, we were looking at captaining him, and then we took a bit of a risk on Kel. Once again, I don't think that was the wrong play. Adelaide had some great matchups. They had double overtime game at the end of the day. And, no, they had a single overtime game. Was theirs a single overtime? Yeah, it was Illawarra, Tasmania that went to double overtime. So they had a single overtime game, which helped a little bit, but I think they were definitely the correct play, and with Adam being so up and down, it was hard to pick him. As I said, it was last week he came out with a 9, so for him to finally bounce back and have a 50-point whopper, I don't think you could have seen that coming at the end of the day. They still had some good matchups, and I thought they would do quite well, but yeah, didn't expect the 50-point whopper. So, nothing wrong there. 11 points in the captain. I'm not going to be too upset with that. And Humphreys wasn't someone I was looking at captaining, so not something I'm going to even consider as a miss. But 88 points from him is amazing. So many people starting to get on from him. Humphreys and Kell, the two Adelaide players that I brought in, have just been so good for us. And if you brought in any other ones instead of them, you're going to feel a little bit hurt by that. But yeah, really good scores from on-field. We had great on-field options. We had 4 of the top scorers for the week on-field. The only one that wasn't there was Lamb. But yeah, really good scores. Unfortunately, out of the 4 of the top 4, Kel was the lowest, but that's okay. Froling 67, awesome from him. Great bench score. I think he was 6th overall for the week, which was awesome. Behind Harvey, who got 69. But look, Harvey's not someone that was on the radar. Jalen Galloway, he is frustrating. He honestly makes great plays, good highlight plays, good dunks, gets steals, but just doesn't do it enough. He just does them in little patches here and there, and you think, okay, he's getting it together. And then he gets benched, and then he comes back, and then he doesn't do anything, and then he gets benched, and then he comes back, and then he does something, and then he gets benched, and then he comes back. And yeah, either way, it's a little bit annoying. Even in the junk time in the first game they had, he actually turned it over like twice in the last 2 minutes when like the entire third string of Sydney players were on, which was a little bit frustrating there that he just threw away some points, but look, he's been a nuisance in our side for a while. He wasn't the buy when we thought he was. He's lost money from when we brought him in, and he needs to get out of my team now. I'm going to get rid of Menenga sitting there, actually, because I would like to see the fixture. And then 2 massive plays for us sitting in the guard position. McCall on the single, 53 points. He's now played Adelaide twice, and he's dropped a 66 and a 53. And the thing is, after his double game week this week, so the other thing, holding him has been absolutely amazing. Like, he has scored massive points for us on single weeks, and he's just done so well. And then we have the double this week where he's going to be a bit of a unique player. Not many people are going to have him. Not many people are going to trade him in for a 1 week play. So he's going to be a massive play for us on field. And I'm so excited to see what McCall can do. And as I mentioned, after the double this week, he actually has Adelaide again. I don't think I'll be holding him, but it's hard to not hold him when he scored a 66 and a 53. I mean, geez, that's going to be an average of 119, basically 59.5 against Adelaide this season. Like, oh man, like I don't know if you'll get to that height, but god damn, that's, even on a single, that's good to hold. But I think there's a bit too much money tied up there for maybe a 40 points when we could get somebody on that could be pushing these 60s to 80s on their double. And then Shannon Scott, which an awesome trade in. Not many people brought him in. I think 15% of the top 5% had him in. Me and the ladies' man both had him in the team. 9 in the first game, not entirely his fault. We've seen this happen with players before. He got 2 fouls early on and then got benched for the entire first half after that. So he played like 2-3 minutes in the first half. And yes, that is his fault for getting the fouls. One of the fouls was really fucking dumb as well, which was really annoying. And then he got a foul later on and got benched for a long time again in the third quarter. I'm pretty sure in the first quarter, one of the fouls that, as I said, was really dumb was they had a turnover, they had the fast break. Scott was honestly behind the person that had the run-up, and he just didn't need to be there. He just accepted the players, got the open layup, but I feel like he just got a bit too close to him. I don't even know if it really was a foul, because I don't think the camera quite kept up with the play fast enough, and the refs probably weren't in the greatest position, but he clearly got too close to the person elevating, and even if he didn't touch them, it was enough for the ref to call a foul. And even if he did touch him a little bit and he didn't, it wasn't foul worthy, he just didn't need to do it. The guy had the open layup. I forgot who it was. They were very athletic. Who did they even play in game 1? Tasmania. Was it McVeigh or something? Yeah, it might have been like McVeigh. Oh no, they played them in the second game actually. No, they did play Tasmania in the first game, yeah, because they played Illawarra in the second game, Tas did. So they played Tasmania, so it might have been like a McVeigh or something. But yeah, either way, you just didn't have to foul. And it was just the dumbest fucking foul. This person gets a free layup, and then they get to go to the line as well, in a situation where he didn't really affect it at all. And it's like, bro, just step back and let him have the layup. Like, you already are on one foul. There's no point in picking up a second one. You're not going to stop him from hitting the shot. Worst case scenario, you end up with like an unsportsmanlike. Like, just let him have it, bro. But he gets a fucking foul, gets fouled off. Gets 2 fouls, spends a lot of time on the bench this game, doesn't play much, and only gets 9 SuperCoach. at the end of the day, I wasn't too upset. As much as it sucks that he only ended up with the 9 Supercoach, I was talking to the ladies, man. I was talking to Pleb about it. It's just like one of those things where we've brought Scott in at a price where he's average, like he's priced at like a 16 or so. Like 15 to 16 points. He's not even priced that high. If he can come out and get 30 to 35 points, that is really good. That's on his average, if anything, playing above it. If he gets 25 to 30, it's acceptable. And if he gets 35 plus, honestly, that's a great outcome. So when the second game came around, he was popping off, getting a ton of assists, getting a few points, getting a few rebounds, getting 3 steals as well. I was like, oh man, this is so good. One of the assists he gave to Chris Smith. Look, to be fair, he gets the steal, and then it was a pretty poor pass from him, and then Chris fumbles it and ends up missing the layup and gets fouled. Would have been nice if he could have made a bit of a better pass, or if Chris could have just finished the layup. But I understand it wasn't the greatest pass. It would have been nice to get an extra 2 points there, but that's okay. But yeah, pretty good week from our team. Now, what I will show us is I will show us the rankings, as I did talk about, as I said, the top 10, it's not out of the realm of possibility. Okay. Yeah, this has got to be it. This has got to be it. I've got to edit it from here. I'll be back in just a minute, guys. And we're back again, guys. Okay, it seems to be working now, the web browser, so this should make life a lot easier. And look, with this, we have a total score of 5,859 points. We do compare that to David's score. We're about 400 points behind him. And at the end of the day, we're like, are we going to really catch him 400 points in 5 rounds? Have to beat him by 80 points a round? It's very unlikely with his team. So, look, I'm just going to cross that off the list. The good news is, though, David's about 100 points in front of second, so that's awesome for him. As I mentioned, me and David did a podcast for the SuperCoach Hub together, so it's really awesome to see him still in first place. Discord, are you serious right now, mate? But then, as I said, since he's 100 points in front of second, all of a sudden, I'm only 300 points behind second. But second's 100 points in front of third. I'm only 200 points, a little bit under 200 points behind third. That's not out of the realm of possibility. 40 points I need to catch every single week for 5 weeks. I think I could roughly do that. So I would love to see us try and push up towards this sort of rank. That would be awesome. But then if we do scroll down to 10th, 10th is basically exactly 100 points ahead of me, 101 to be exact. So to make it to the top 10, I mean, if we want to make it into the top 10, we got to get to 9, so 111 points. But that's definitely not out of the realm of possibilities. 111 points to catch up on the rest of the competition. I think I could definitely do that. And we're definitely pumping out good score after good score after good score. So hopefully we can keep it up, and maybe soon enough we'll see that we can pop into this top 100. 100 over 5 rounds, that's 20 points a round. I just need to catch up on them. As I said, if I can do 40 points a round, maybe we can make it into this bit higher than just the top 10, maybe the top 5 if we're lucky. But look, that's maybe stretching it, but that's going to be the goal for the rest of this season. We've got to have goals moving forward, guys. But yeah, what are we looking at this week? Trades for this week. Sorry, just going to quickly bring that to the side. I need to bring up the fixture real quick. Just because I actually don't have that to the side of me for once, which is not like I usually always have to my side. I actually have it saved to the desktop, so I could have just brought it up in pictures, but I did not. Oh. And for those that don't know, I do just keep it saved in my images in Facebook to a message to myself. But I also have a bunch of other things there that I save, so just need to scroll up a bit. Okay, so the numero uno team to be bringing in at the end of the day is still Illawarra. Getting on Illawarra players is still premium. The next up would be Perth and South Melbourne. They do have double-doubles in the next week. Don't get me wrong, Illawarra also only has a double-double, but then after that single game, they have another double-double, so that's why they're absolute premium. South Melbourne and Perth, it's not the last game for Perth. South Melbourne, it's going to be their last double-double. So you're bringing them in, you're trading them out by round 18. Perth players, you're bringing them in. You could actually hold them over round 18, where the only players on the double is Adelaide and Tasmania, and then the only players on the double in 19 is going to be New Zealand and Illawarra. So, and then they have the round 20 double. So in reality, bringing them in, you could hold them. There's definitely not a problem with that. But yeah, it would definitely go Illawarra as number one priority. Second priority is going to be Perth and South Melbourne. Looking at these other players on the double, we have Cairns, Brisbane, Adelaide. They've only got one double left before a single. In Adelaide's sense, they have the round 18 double as well. So, holding them is fine, but I don't think they're players that we want to target. We just want to hold them if you have them, but you're not going to target them. So, yeah, look, numero uno, everyone's list is Bryce Cotton. That is the main mission of this week. I think the B-Ball blokes put it out as Operation Get Bryce Cotton, and I do love the sound of that, but it definitely is what we need to do. Lucky for us, we have Lamb, who's not too far away from Cotton. And look, with Lamb being on a single this week, is we can move Lamb out, and next week we can just trade McCall to Lamb. So after he's at his last double of the year, we can just side with McCall to Lamb, and we get Lamb back next week. And if anything, we'll get him at a bit of a cheaper price, because he's got like a 66 break even, I think it is. But obviously, he's on a single week. So 66 in a single week. It's not showing here, but I swear I'm not lying, guys. Apparently the internet's still not quite there. Let's try it one more time. Here we get 63 break even. He's not going to get that on a single week. He's going to lose a bit of cash. McCall on a double week has a pretty good break even. I think it's also about 60. Yeah, 60 break even, but honestly, that's his floor. He'll probably make a bit of cash, and then it could just be a straight sideways of McCall back to Lamb next week. So that sounds really nice to me. So Lamb is jumping out of my team. We will be activating the boost, and we got to get rid of these. We got to get rid of Galloway. He's just been such a problem to our team. For a lot of people that are higher ranked, that have a bit more money, they can maybe look at moving Galloway up, which would be very nice, but not something we can unfortunately do. So what we'll do first of all is we'll get McCall up to the forward position. We'll bring in Bryce Cotton. That's the first thing we need to do. Now, the good thing here about getting Bryce Cotton, it's just awesome. We get a free captain for 2 weeks, and as I said, we're probably going to hold him until the end of the season now. So it's really nice bringing him in. 460k is pretty cheap for what the man can produce. He also has a decent break even. I think it's like 70-ish. Come on, you can do it, internet. I believe. My belief was not good enough. Here we go. Oh, God, 86. So it's very high, but it's definitely within his realm of possibility. And if anything, I wouldn't be surprised if he gets close to it. And it's about points right now. It's not just about the break-even game. As I said, if we're putting him in the team now, he's going to be in the team for the rest of the season. And he's not really going to change much from this price, in my opinion, at the end of the day. So we're getting him at a pretty cheap price, considering he's close to the 500k mark for a lot of that time. Now, the next teams we've got to be looking at are the fixture. As I mentioned, it's got to be Sydney and it's got to be South Melbourne. But what I'm actually going to talk about just before I jump into this, the priority is Perth, South Melbourne, or Illawarra players at the end of the day. But something I want to talk about is the final 4 games on the run home. We have Illawarra and New Zealand who will play 3 out of those 4 games. So I do think if you can bring in, maybe 6 or so players from that team. So let's say we're going to hold Bryce Cotton at the end of the day. We end up bringing in like 3 New Zealand players. We end up with like 3, maybe 4 Illawarra players. That ends up with like 8 players forming the foundation of our team, and then we can just look at chopping and changing the other 2 players depending on who's on the weekly. And I think that's going to be a really good way to run home and guarantee a lot of total points heading home. Look, if you want to go for the weekly win at the end of the day, and you're going to look at stacking your team full of when you hit round 18, you maybe look at getting in Melbourne and Perth players to be a bit different to those that have stacked up on these Illawarra and New Zealand players. Definitely feel free to, but I think that Illawarra and New Zealand, if we can have those players in our team, we're going to basically guarantee, good rounds from round 17 to the end of the season. Yes, round 18, they're not on the double, but at the end of the day, having them there, they'll build a good foundation for when they are on the doubles moving forward. So that is the goal here. So that's why I think Illawarra is just the main priority. And this is the man I was talking about, Hong Zhong Lee. Look, he'd been playing really well in that first game. It was very big. I think 31 points and then 10 in his second game. A little bit disappointing from that second game. I did feel like the man's probably a good 15 to 20 points each week. But as I said, if he's getting 15 to 20, I was expecting him maybe 30 to 40 this week. He went a little bit over that, which was great. But as I said, I thought Menenga could go anywhere from 25 to 35. So as much as moving to him this week, in hindsight, would have definitely been correct play. Extra 21 points on our team would have been very nice. But at the end of the day, I thought Menenga could get close to that while having a good break even, and we could make a little bit more money in the long term. And as much as I say we're not playing entirely the break even game, you can't just ignore it completely. Having a little bit of extra money at the end of the day, that can be the difference between you making, an upgrade here or not. And yeah, so I wanted to bring in Hong Zhong Lee at the end of the day. Now, this center position absolutely sucks for the rest of these teams for only 227,000. So because of that, we're actually going to move Froling down. To be fair, I would run Froling on the bench even if he's in my forward. So if I'm going to run him on the bench in my center, it's not really a big deal. So it doesn't really matter where he is. And then this is what I did. I went ahead and filtered Illawarra. We're going to look at Sem and we're going to look at Perth. I even filtered for New Zealand players because as I said, bringing a New Zealand player on the single is fine. Looking at players I can afford. And the list is bad. It is not a good list of players at the end of the day. And that's the annoying thing with Galloway losing all that money because we can't go to somebody like a Cheatham. We can't push towards a Harvey or something. We're just stuck with players that have been pretty inconsistent. I would have loved a Saar in this position right now. Give me a bit of flexibility, move Froling around. But look, he's probably out for the season. Let's be honest. He's being benched for the NBA draft. So we're not getting him, unfortunately. Albridge does give me that flexibility. But look, we saw it in game one. He dropped maybe 1 or 2 points in game one and then maybe 12 in the second game. If he could put out 12 points a game at his price, we'd be pretty happy with that, but I just don't see it. Illawarra want to make finals, meaning when the games are close, Albridge is not going to get court time. Albridge will get court time when the games are blown out. Or if I thought Samson Ryan for some reason because of AFL, or if Samson Froling ends up in foul trouble. So I don't want to go the Aldridge route as much as that would work quite nicely with the flexibility in the team. I just don't want to do it. And so what I've done here, oh gosh, it's probably not correct, but you know what? 0% of players in the top 5% I think have him, and we're going to go for Jordan Usher. I know, it's not a good trade-in, guys. It's not the play we want, but I think he has the most upside out of the plays that we could choose from at the end of the day. Yeah, that's really it. I think just maybe the most upside out of the players, and that's what we'll look at. So we'll chuck Cotton on field. This is pretty straightforward, guys. Cotton is going to get the captaincy, and that is it, full stop. I looked at the matchups. Illawarra matchups are kind of nuts. Cairns give up big points to centers, and so do Adelaide. Man, I thought Adelaide going in the Sem would be alright, so I think we actually end up with benching Humphrey this week. He had the highest score of the round, and I think we just got to put him on the sideline, because I think Froling and Clark are probably in for a big game this week. And look, as I said, we could probably look at teams like, hey, McCall has Illawarra and he has Brisbane. Last few times against Brisbane, last 2 times they played, he dropped 40 plus on them. Illawarra, same sort of thing. We could be looking at a pretty big week out of McCall as a big pod captain, but I think don't overthink it, guys. Keep it simple. That's something I've been thinking more and more about starting the AFL season, is sometimes we get too carried away trying to make the pod play. And it doesn't always work out. If anything, most of the time, making the pod play for making a pod play isn't the right play. Bryce Cotton is the right play. I mean, besides the point, obviously he's safe, he's clearly just shown a massive ceiling where he's able to put out almost 30 points at minimum. He's putting out 40 pretty consistently as well. Sydney are a team that score a lot of points. Brisbane seem to give up a fair bit of points. Even with McDaniel on him, he still managed to put through 30 points a game. And oh my goodness, my dog just woke up and he's come in and he is trapped behind the Coast Horses and he's just sticking his head through them looking at me and he is so damn cute. Oh my god, I love you. I'll get to you in a minute, mister. I swear. But yeah, I think just don't overthink it. McCall, yeah, it could be the pod play, but most times when I've gone for the pod play and the captain option, we saw it last week. I went for the pod play instead of just running with Adams. We lost some points on the captain. I've run with the pod on McCall before and I've lost some points with him as captain. Every time I try and make a pod captain, most times I just lose points doing it. I think keep it simple. Make the play. We brought Bryce Cotton in for 460k. If we're going to bet on him getting outscored by McCall, why are we even bringing him in at that point? We might as well just put our bets somewhere else, in my opinion. We're paying that much money, bring him in, put the C on him, accept it, okay? So yeah, Bryce Cotton's in the team. He is the easy captain option. The team looks so good to a degree. I mean, these bench options and like Adam and Humphrey, oh my goodness, come on. I think look insanely good. I think Scott is definitely value where he is. Lee and Usher are a little bit iffy, and that's the difference with us being, we're at what, 3.2 million? The guy in second's got a team worth over 3.6 million. That's the difference, owning 400 more K. These players can be an extra 200k on their price tag, and all of a sudden he's got a Doolittle, he's got a Pinder here, he's maybe put in... I mean, really, there's anyone you could go. I mean, maybe he kept a Froling here and you can afford to put in like a Williams instead. Definitely could be an option there. But yeah, look, that's the team. That's the wrap, guys. I rambled for a long time in this one, so I'm so sorry about that. But I think we got through a lot of good points. Once again, to all those that are interested, you can always find me on X at Verns_SC. I always leave it in the description below. Obviously, for those that like and subscribe and even stay at the end of the video, I really appreciate y'all. That's just awesome. I love you being here. And then for those that are interested, as I said, I'll have the ladies' man, Corey Blackledge, with me Wednesday to put out a beautiful video for all you people, talking about the coming weeks, talking about his team, talking about everything that has gone well this season. So, yeah, till then, guys, I appreciate y'all. Peace. Later.